Why does God permit evil? We read in Genesis 1:31, God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. But everything is certainly not very good today. What happened to change the situation? Why did God permit evil to get a start in the world and develop to the extent that it has? And why doesn't he put a stop to all this madness? Evil is a reality. God is love is a reality. How can we find harmony in these two statements? To believe in God, one must have faith that he is loving and wise, and providing all things for man's ultimate good. God, whose character is supreme love, would not have permitted 6,000 years of evil to reign over his creation without an ultimately useful purpose and grand outcome. It would truly be a horrible thought that a God who claims to be love would create billions to live on earth in sorrow, only to send them to a future of eternal torment. We know that God is just and good, and hates evil of every kind. In Psalms 5:4 it states, Thou art not a God that hath pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with thee. To understand why God permits evil, we must first realize the difference between permitting and causing. God has permitted man to have a temporary experience with evil, so that all will come to know firsthand the contrast between living righteously or selfishly in disobedience. And by faith we trust that God would not permit this experience with evil to last forever. The cause of evil is sin. Not only personal sin, but inherited sin. The scriptures state, Dying thou shalt die, was our inheritance from Father Adam. Fellowship with God having been cut off, man's distressed mind affected his physical health, and soon disease permeated the perfect organism. Man lost his dominion over himself and his dominion over nature. Yes, the calamities in nature are the result of disobedience as well. God said, Cursed is the ground for thy sake, in Genesis 3:17. Man must endure an unfriendly earth as part of the penalty for disobedience. God purposely made the test upon Adam simple, plainly stating, Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Genesis 2:16 and 17. If it had been a difficult thing the Lord required of him, Adam might have been excused, because obedience would have been beyond his capabilities. No, Adam was simply forbidden to eat of the fruit of only one of the many trees of the garden. Here, Satan found an opportunity to carry out his prideful scheme. He had concluded that if he could convince Mother Eve that God was withholding something beautiful from her, he could slowly win the confidence of the first couple. Eventually, Satan thought the whole dominion of earth would be his. Little did he know that his lie, Ye shall not surely die, would plunge the entire human race into a spiral of mental, moral, and physical disease, and finally death. Satan did gain the fruitage of his pride. Paul titles him the God of this world in 2 Corinthians 4:4. Yet Satan's rebellion has cost him not only the lives of all who have ever lived, but his own life. Embodied in the curse to Adam and Eve in Genesis 3:15 and Revelation 20:10 and 14, is the curse to Satan that one day the seed of the woman will cast a fatal blow to the serpent's head, and he will surely die. Beside intuition, observation, and information, the only other way to learn is by experience. Why did Eve believe Satan when God said plainly, Thou shalt surely die? Because of Eve's innocent inexperience, she was childlike and naive, and was easily deceived when the crafty adversary said to eat the forbidden fruit, for it would make her wise. Thus, without the benefit which we now have of experience, Eve believed the first lie, and Adam, in turn, knowingly disobeyed his Creator. The death penalty was enforced. Adam began to die, and all his descendants have been born dying ever since. As it states in Romans 5:12, "As by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned." Soon, by benefit of experience, mankind will have learned to hate evil and to desire obedience and its resultant rewards. In Ecclesiastes 1:13 it states, "This sore travail hath God given to the sons of man to be exercised therewith." Experience has truly been the best teacher. God could have prevented sin from entering the world by programming man to be blindly obedient. But man would be no better than a robot, without true happiness. No, he was created in God's image with the ability to love and obey by choice. Because of the vivid lessons provided by the cruel consequences of disobedience, man is learning why obedience to God is the most beneficial option. Man will choose to love and respect his fellow man and environment. More importantly, he will render to God the love, respect, and obedience he desires and deserves. Because God is love, he will not always permit evil to reign over man. Knowing Adam would disobey, God lovingly planned for man's redemption. Jesus was the Lamb slain before the foundation of the world, as it states in 1 Peter 1:19 and 20. God's gift of salvation was the greatest demonstration of fatherly suffering in history, watching his only begotten Son suffer the agony of being vilified and crucified. Is there any doubt what great love God has for the human race? It states in Romans 5:8, "God commendeth his love toward us, in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us." Yes, God's plans include a merciful escape from our suffering and death. As it states, "As by the offense of one, judgment came upon all men to condemnation, even so by the righteousness of one, the free gift came upon all unto justification of life." Romans 5:18.